Good morning. Welcome back to Mona's Take. I am your host, Mona-Rose, and we are here to talk about everything reality TV. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything I have coming up. We're going to start this episode yesterday morning before the eviction show. I will get to the eviction show, I promise you, because I'm not liking this at all. Alright, let's get right into it. People are acting on a whole nother level on that. So can't wait to see that karma train coming through. Choo-choo. Mood of the day. Really? You gotta give us more credit than that. Some people, buckle up, buttercup. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. The night before, Brittany and Joseph had come up with a plan that the reason for voting Indy out was they found out that she was in two separate alliances, one with each of them, and they didn't know about the other. So they planned this big ruse. They were going to go and have a talk with her together first thing in the morning, yada, yada, yada. Well, yesterday morning they got up and Joseph went and talked to Brittany, and he said, I don't think we need to say anything unless it comes up. Unless they start pressuring you about where your vote's going to lie, we can just let it go. But if they start pressuring you, then you say, we need to get Joseph into this conversation, and we go from there. Sure enough, Indy started pressuring her. So she said, we need to get Joseph and Brittany in the room together with Indy. Joseph's in the room. Indy goes to get Brittany. Michael comes in. He's talking to Joseph. Brittany and Indy come in, and Michael said, do you need me to leave? And Indy was like, no, I want you to stay because this concerns you too. So they go through the whole shebang about finding out about the other alliance, and she lied to them, and Joseph acts upset, and he's like, I didn't have anything else. Indy starts talking about how the Five Swatters wasn't a real alliance, that they just formed it to save Kyle because he was on the block, which is totally bullshit. Jasmine formed it. Had nothing to do with protecting Kyle. Anyway, I digress. So, they have this meeting. The alliance is outed. They don't say any names. Now, Brittany said the girls. So, that would insinuate all the girls. But the only one Joseph mentioned, Joseph didn't even mention it, Indy did. The only one that Indy mentioned that was in the Five Swatters was her, Joseph, and Kyle. She did not say Jasmine's name. She did not say Alyssa's name. Brittany said to her, you lied to me about the Five Swatters. She said the Five Swatters weren't real. It was just to save Kyle. And then Kyle didn't save me. So as far as I'm concerned, it wasn't real and the alliance was dead. Brittany tells her that she can't trust her. And Indy keeps saying, well, I didn't create it. I kind of just got through into it. I didn't create it. So Brittany asked her who created it. And she said Kyle did. Kyle got dragged into that. He did not want to even be associated with that side of the house. Indy just keeps reiterating how it's fake, and that as far as she's concerned, that the alliance was over when Kyle didn't save her, because what's the point of having an alliance if you're not going to save your alliance members? So she just kept telling Brittany, I understand, I still want your vote, whatever. Michael and Brittany leave the room, and it's just Joseph. And Joseph said, you tell me every day how you can't trust her, but you're in an alliance with her that I didn't know about. What the hell am I supposed to think? I mean, he did act pretty upset. He knew what was coming, but he played it off. Because Joseph is that good. I've been saying it all along. He is the biggest threat that is in that game right now. Michael may have the comp wins, But Michael's got people looking at him. Joseph don't have nobody looking at him. He's playing both sides against the middle. So they finish their conversation, and Joseph tells Taylor, Brittany, and Michael, I've got to go get to Jasmine and Alyssa before Indy does. So he goes into the bathroom, has to wait around a while for everybody to leave, but he finds the two of them alone, and he tells them. And the look on Jasmine's face, I swear to God, she looked like she just shit herself. She was pissed. They immediately said, well, that's it. That's all we need to know. She outed the fly swatters. She's naming names. She's doing all of this. That's it. She's got to go. She said the alliance wasn't real. What? Yeah, she's got to go. I mean, that quick. Joseph, Jasmine, and Indy talk. And she tells them that she was never loyal to Brittany. That she was always loyal to him, Jasmine, and Alyssa. And that was it. That was the only one she was loyal to. The rest of it was just play, pretend, whatever. And she's begging them, don't let this affect your vote. She said, if it's time for me to go, then it's time for me to go. But I want you to know that I'm going to blow everything up. She said, I don't want to say y'all's names. And Joseph said, they know everything about the alliance now. Said, Michael was in the room when we were talking about it. Everyone's going to know my game. And Joseph said, I protected Alyssa and I protected Jasmine. I didn't say their names. They have no idea that they're in this alliance, which they do, but for play's sake, he's telling them, I protected Alyssa, I protected Jasmine. And Jasmine is fuming. I swear I saw smoke coming out of her ears. She's sitting there for the most part being quiet, just listening to Joseph and Indy go back and forth. And Joseph said, are y'all working with Michael? And Jasmine said, well, he damn sure ain't working with me. I know that. She said, I told him I wouldn't put him up next week if I got HOH. But that's it. Jasmine said, I'm struggling. Me and Alyssa just got into it in the bathroom. Something Jasmine said to Alyssa that rubbed her the wrong way when they were in lockdown about makeup or some bullshit. So they were arguing in the bathroom. And she said, I'm trying not to lose my shit right now. And Indy said, you know what's messed up? I'm struggling. Because I'm going home because I saved someone else. That's effed up. She says that her dreams are being crushed because of Kyle. And she said, and if I go home, I want y'all to remember that. While this is going on, Brittany takes Alyssa up to the have-not room, and they have a lengthy discussion about where things are going. Brittany did not tell her about the other side of the house's alliance, but she did tell her, I'm going to give you a heads up. You need to lay low, and if you want to continue on in this game, you need to distance yourself from Jasmine as soon as possible. You need to totally stay away from that. She's a sinking ship. You don't want to go down with the ship. All right, and then the feed's cut, and that was it for the day. Until the live eviction show. That was the biggest crock of shit I've ever seen in my life. I have been watching Big Brother for 24 seasons, and that was the worst episode ever. You spent an hour and 30 minutes on punishments. And then you leave us with the HOH and don't show us who the teams are. You spent an hour and 30 minutes on bullcrap when you could have showed us the stuff that actually mattered. I was so disgusted, number one, by the episode, like I said. Number two, this schoolyard pick. This is not a fair competition at all. Now, strategically, if I was in that, I would choose number one person, my target. Number two person would be someone that I could trust and I know is going to do exactly what I want them to do. The third person would be my secondary target in case this one doesn't work out. And then my last one would be someone I'm protecting. The feeds did not come back on until 4 o'clock this morning. Hence the fact that I'm still in my robe. I am going to do this part of the video. I'm going to wait and see who the noms are, do that video, add it to it, and I'll post it in its entirety. But the production staff of Big Brother needs to be fired, each and every one of them. Starting with Grodner. This is not... This has got rigged saying all over it. You have an alliance of 7 that's going strong. They're starting to show some cracks, but they're still going strong. So let's throw in something to shake that up to get some of those people out. So your favorites, like Jasmine, for God's sakes, I don't know why, is one of Grodner's favorites. Kyle is one of Grodner's favorites. How do you think this isn't going to screw up a lot of game? It's not going to cause chaos because everybody's going to fall in line and do what they need to do to save their own ass. That's the name of the game. I honestly don't think there will be a whole lot of fallout from this. Alright, so in the episode, we saw that Michael is the HOH of the house. Terrence is the HOH of the backyard. I had a lot of concerns, and I was honestly trying to figure out the optics of how they were going to make this work. I know that it's made my job harder because now I have to watch inside the house, then go back and totally rewind it and watch the backyard. So I'm watching 2 different shows basically at the same time, and hoping I'm not missing anything. So the feeds finally come back on at 4 o'clock this morning. Michael's HOH, which is everyone in the house, is Taylor, Brittany, Jasmine, and Monty. Terrence's yard HOH is Alyssa, Turner, Kyle, and Joseph. My predictions, and I made these before I ever saw anything. I paused it as soon as I saw who the teams were, and I made my predictions. So I want to see how close I am to what's actually happening this week. I'm sorry, you guys. I am tired. I've had 3 hours sleep. So I'm sorry if I kind of ramble a little bit. So predictions. For Michael's HOH. I predict that Jasmine and Monty are going to go on the block. Michael's going to win the veto, and Jasmine's going to go home. Easy peasy, get it done. The yard HOH. Predictions. I predict that Kyle and Joseph are going to be on the block. Kyle's going to win the veto, and either Alyssa or Joseph's going to go home. So Terrence's team is camping in the backyard. They have sleeping bags. They're sleeping on the ground, which if anybody watches the live feed, you know that the BB house has always had ants. It's a horrible problem that they have every year. I don't know about sleeping outside in a sleeping bag. That and the mosquitoes, it's not going to be pleasant. They have MREs, which, for those of you who don't know, it's ready-made meals that they give the troops when they're out in the field. Or a lot of the survivalists are selling now for, the end of time or nuclear war, whatever it is that they're preparing for, that they've got all this food stocked away. But it's ready-made meals. Some of them aren't too bad. Some of them are horrible. I'm a military brat. I was in ROTC. I have eaten my fair share of MREs. Some of them are pretty good. Now, I haven't had them in years, so I don't know. They may have changed up their formulas. Terrence has a cot. Everybody else is on the ground in sleeping bags. He did get his letter. It doesn't show him reading his letter. He said before that if he got HOH, he didn't want anybody hearing him read his letter. So I guess that's something that he just read to himself when he was laying on the cot. They have a little outdoor kitchen area that's got a sink and one burner, like hot plate, mini fridge, porta potties, outdoor shower. They're actually using the outdoor shower that's out there for the pool, and they just put partitions around it so there'd be a little bit of privacy. Michael and Jasmine talk, and he tells her that he has to put money on the block. And she said, I would have hoped everyone is on board with what you want to do this week. She said, I'm assuming that money is your target. He said, yeah. And she said, and I'm assuming that either Taylor or myself are going to go on the block with him. And he said, yeah, I'm not going to BS you. I mean, there's not enough people here to pick from. This is what I've been dealt, and this is what's going to happen. She said, if you keep me off the block, I will vote however you want me to vote. And, oh, by the way, I don't want to be on the block on my birthday week. This will be the third week in a row she's used this, because she used it the week before, the week of, and now the week after her birthday. I'd really appreciate it if I'm not on the block on my birthday week. She said, okay, what if Monty wins it and he pulls himself down? She says, okay, what's going to happen if he wins the veto and he pulls himself down and it's me and Taylor on the block? And Michael said, honestly, I haven't got that far. Right now, I'm trying to take this one step at a time, and this is the first step. And she says that she wants to make it to the final 5, and if she can make it to the final 5, she's fine. I don't know if their pay goes up when they hit final 5, because this is a couple of times now I've heard different people mention that they wanted to make it to the top 5. So I think that their pay may significantly go up if they make it that far. She says, I don't even really have to win the $750,000. Yeah, it'd be nice. But if I can make it to the final 5, I've done what I set out to accomplish. He says, I have to talk to everybody because I kind of don't even know what's going on. I really don't know the full extent of what happened today with Brittany and Joseph and Indy and that whole alliance thing. She said, oh no, I don't know what went on with that either. The people that can tell us about that are outside. I have no idea. I know that it was Indy, Joseph, and Kyle, but I don't know who else was in it, And then in the same breath, says to him, I hope you know you can trust me. I would never lie to you. Literally. First sentence lie, second sentence I would never lie to you. Michael sees through her BS. He has for a long time. The next conversation is between Turner and Terrence in the backyard. And it almost sounds like he's working with Turner to decide who's going up and who's going out. Turner says, put up Alyssa and Kyle and backdoor Joseph, and Joseph goes home. It looks like right now, the way it's looking, and it may be all an act, but the way it's looking right now, Joseph is the target. Terrence doesn't really have anybody out there that he can be 100% real with. And to be honest, he hasn't had that person in the game since Daniel left. He told Turner that he wasn't going to tell anybody his plan except for Alyssa, and that he didn't want Alyssa going home. Alyssa and Terrence talk, and she tells him to put up Kyle and Joseph. She said, I don't want to go on the block. She said, I'm not for certain that if I go on the block that Turner and Joseph aren't going to vote me out and keep Kyle. And so he promises her that he won't put her up on the block. He says, okay, what do you suggest? She said, I suggest being straightforward. You put up Joseph and Kyle on the block. We have the veto. It's not like you can backdoor anybody. Everybody has a chance at the veto. Just put them up there and be done with it. She says, worst case scenario is that Joseph wins and pulls himself down. And then you have to choose between me and Turner. Then Joseph has his talk with Terrence. He says he doesn't want to go on the block because he knows he'll go home. If he touches that block, he's gone. He says he would send Kyle home. He said, so put up Alyssa and Kyle goes home. So Joseph is pitching Kyle. Turner, Alyssa, and Kyle are pitching Joseph. I have a feeling that Terrence may see through that bullshit. Be like, okay, well, if all three of them want one person out, then they must be working together, so let's get one of them out. And I see him turning on Kyle. I think it's a very good, strong possibility either Kyle or Joseph go home on Terrence's watch this week. Joseph tells him that Kyle's the strongest player. He's got to go. He's got to get him out of there. If he wants any chance to win this game, he's got to get Kyle out because Kyle's already won 2 vetoes. Or 2 or 3, something like that. I've lost count and I'm sleep deprived. Kyle tells Terrence to put up Joseph and himself. He said, just go from the goal. If Joseph is your target, put me and him on the block. We all play the veto anyway. He said, worst case scenario, Joseph wins the POV, pulls himself down, and then you have to make a decision between Alyssa and Turner who to put up and which one of us would go home. He said, I can honestly tell you that if I go to the jury house, he said, I'm not going to be a bitter juror. He said, I understand what cards you've been dealt. I'm not going to be mad at you. I'm not going to hold it against you. If Joseph somehow pulls himself down and I go home, it doesn't cause any problems between me and you. We're still good. Michael talks to Brittany and Taylor and Monty and basically fills them in on the conversation with Jasmine. Like I said, Michael and Brittany talked a little bit and said, worst case scenario is Jasmine wins the POV and then they take a shot at Monty because that's going to be the only shot they have. He volunteered to go up. He told Michael, put me and Jasmine up. That's worst case scenario. But God, let's hope Jasmine goes to the jury house this week. I don't even care. I just want to see her going. I so wanted her in the backyard. But Michael played strategically. He picked, just like I said, he picked the person he wanted out, the person that was closest to him, the second person that he could take out, and somebody he wanted to protect. Jasmine was the target. Brittany was his closest ally. Monty was the second target. And Taylor is someone he wanted to protect. All right, these feeds are going to suck for the next week. Between the planes flying over every 5 minutes in the backyard, them being able to be in the pool and not have a mic on, not being able to see every part of the backyard, Button Boy leaving a mic on. If you've got Terrence, say you have me, Terrence, and Kyle talking, and I get up and I say, I'm going to go take a shower. I go over to the shower and I start running water. They don't cut off my mic. So you can't hear anything Terrence and Kyle are saying. So it's been a struggle. I'm going on 3 or 4 hours sleep. I have no idea at this point. I was waiting for them to do the Noms so I could get the video posted, and we just got the second Noms. So, now that I'm through ranting, Taylor and Monty are worried about Joseph. Taylor's brought it up like 5 times today. And I'm like, you have 3 Alliance members over there. Yeah, Kyle shot himself in the foot with her over the veto. But you still have Joseph and you have Turner. But they're not concerned about anybody but Joseph. Taylor is worried to death that Joseph is not coming back in that house. All right, big news. Kyle is a dumbass. Like even a bigger dumbass than he's been dumbassing. He just exposed his whole entire game to Alyssa. He told her, starts out by saying, so how do you think the Amira vote went down? She's like, what are you talking about? And he tells her about the leftovers. And that Joseph was the one that flipped the vote on Amira. That Amira told him about old school, told them about old school. And that's kind of how this alliance came to be. He tells her that they're trying to get her out. That when he and Daniel won the veto, Monty did try to get him not to use the veto because they wanted to vote her out. He said, they're going to try to get to you and Jasmine. You're supposed to be voted out over here. Jasmine's supposed to be voted out in the house. He said, I didn't use the veto because I found out that the backdoor plan was going to be you. And I couldn't be the one to send you home. He said, so now I'm on the outs with them because I didn't use the veto. He said, if it's me and Joseph on the block, Turner wins. He's taking Joseph down and you're going up and they will vote you out. He said, should I tell Terrence so that he knows before the Noms? I have a feeling that Michael, I know all of the alliance is going to be pissed at him. But I have a feeling that Michael and Brittany are going to be super pissed at him. Because he just exposed their game. He exposed everyone's game. He tells her, and he's pushing it. He tells her that when they were all around the pool table and they were discussing whether or not to use the veto, that Monty, Taylor, and Joseph came at him hard. I mean, really, really hard. Oh, I'm so pissed. If you guys get it, tell. And no sleep on top of that. I'm freaking livid. So, excuse me. He says that they came at me hard. I mean, really, really hard. And it was so awful. Dude, they didn't come at you hard. They spoke their opinion. You spoke your opinion. At the end, they all realized we can't push Kyle. It's his choice. And they said, okay. Come at you hard. Damn, boy, if you think that's coming at you hard, you need to get the hell back to Mama's basement. Crazy. I know y'all have not seen this side of me. I have not been this pissed off with Big Brother. I don't think ever. I think this is the stupidest freaking move I've ever seen in my life. If he had talked to Michael and Brittany beforehand, and he knew that he had them, and he says, okay, it's going to be Michael, Brittany, me, and Alyssa, and we're going to bring in Terrence. He did not have that okay from Michael and Brittany. So he is going back into the house, and he's fixing to get his ass handed to him. So he sits down with Terrence, and he lays out the whole plan. He starts with the Amira vote, how their alliance formed, the Amira vote, every week, what happened, who was in control. He says that Monty and Joseph are running the show, that Joseph's been the double agent for the other side. He's been coming back and telling them everything. He said he knew about old school, that Amira told Joseph about old school, and that's what set all of this new alliance into formation. Terrence said that thought he always had Joseph. He said, I just always thought Joseph had me. He said, now, Monty, I didn't trust him at all, but I thought Joseph had me. And you can tell he is pissed. Well, of course, they sit over there and have an hour-long conversation. And Joseph and Turner and Alyssa can see them over there talking with their heads together. Like, they don't know what the hell's going on. Terrence talks to Turner. And Turner said, I just want to make sure the plan was still the plan. Because, you know, when somebody's game is in jeopardy, they'll say whatever they have to say to save their own ass. And Terrence said that him and Michael had a deal to both take out big targets. And to make sure no one was throwing his name out. So, at some point, I don't know when Michael and Terrence got together and hatched this plan. But supposedly, Michael told him he was going after Monty. He was supposed to go after Joseph. Now, Michael has said nothing about this conversation. But Terrence has brought it up several times to everybody in the backyard. So, I'm sure that it took place. I just don't know when. And I thought they said in the backyard when they did this, before they made the pick, that these two sides would not be able to communicate. So how the hell did they have time to come up with this plan? Sketchy, sketchy, sketchy as hell. And Terrence is pissed off, like I said, it's showing in his face. This right here is why I could never be on Big Brother. Because when I'm pissed off, I can't hide it. It's all over my body. There is no hiding it. They're like, oh, she's pissed off. I would never, ever be able to handle it. Turner is going on and on about how trustworthy Michael is and that he's going to take the shot at Monty, that that's the plan and that they need to stick to the plan. And Terrence is pissed off and you can see it in his face, but he's holding it together, barely. Well, then here comes Joseph. Terrence said he wants to hit Kyle. Joseph said, how does Alyssa feel about that? And Terrence said, I just talked to her and told her that this is an individual game and she's going to have to start playing her individual game. And he said, what does Turner think about it? And he says, I don't know, man. I think Turner's just giving me lip service. I don't know if I buy what he's selling. And Joseph says, now, you tell me what you think about this statement. Joseph said, so going back into the house, what are you thinking of doing? Because you know when you have to go back in, you're going to have to think about the negative effects of who you're sending home. That just sounded like a veiled threat to me. Terrence said there's something bigger going on and I haven't figured out what it is yet, but I will. And Joseph said, if Kyle is on the block with him, he goes home. Terrence said, Turner hasn't touched the block. And Joseph said, that's facts. And then he threatened Terrence without saying it. You got to be careful who you're voting out because you have to go back in the house and you're going to get the wrath of the house. He said, you have to think about who they're friendly with when you go back in the house. He says, Michael, Monty, and Kyle are tight. So if you go back into the house with Kyle, you have to fight that battle. Terrence tells him that he's been on the block 4 times and that nobody in that house knows how that feels. And everybody in that house has had their name in his mouth and deciding how his game was going to be played. And he was sick of it, so it was time for somebody else to suck it up. Alright, Michael, Noms, Jasmine, and Monty, everything goes as planned, and it sounds like from that side of the house, everything is kosher. Not a whole lot going on over there. The plan is the plan, and they know it as of now. I will know more after the veto competition. But as of now, Jasmine's the target. She's going home. Terrence puts up, now at the time that I'm watching this, when the feeds first came back on, nobody's saying a word. Everybody's in different parts of the yard. It is like somebody just died. Like literally. You could have heard a pin drop in that backyard. So I'm watching and going, okay, somebody say something. Let me know what's going on. Terrence did say it's going to be an awkward night. He was talking to Alyssa. And this is the first time all season that I've seen Joseph scared for his game. And you would think, with all the evictions he's had his hand in over the last 6 weeks, that he would be able to stand being on the block a little bit. Now, he went on the block before as the Pesty Besties, but he knew that was a setup and they were coming down. And if they didn't come down, he knew Terrence was going home. So he was more than comfortable. Right now, he's number one pissed. He is so pissed off right now. And he's scared for his game. He's worried about his position in the game at the moment. And I bet you he pulls out a veto. I bet you he wins that comp. And if he does, that shows me proof of what I've been saying all season. He's throwing the comps because he doesn't want to get blood on his hands. Because he's good with everybody in that house and he has nobody to put up. You watch him pull that veto out. I will be shocked if he doesn't. Terrence confirms that it was Joseph and Turner that he put up. And that Joseph is his target. And if Terrence was even doubting Kyle in the slightest, Turner helped that right along. Turner, at one point, after Kyle's already told Terrence all this stuff, is talking to Terrence, and Terrence says, I just hope that Michael follows through. And that's when he's talking about Michael being trustworthy and everything. And he's like, well, I gave him the perfect shot. I set him up perfectly to take the perfect shot, and he didn't take it. He didn't say he threw the comp. Well, Turner said, facts, dude, facts. How does Turner know that he threw the comp to Michael? How does he know that what Turner is saying, or Terrence is saying, is actually true? Because the whole alliance knew it. Because Michael told everybody in the alliance what Terrence said to him, and the fact that Terrence threw the veto at him so he could put money up. So, we have our nominees and a shit show going on. Oh, Lord. I am going to get some sleep. I'm going to turn my computer off. I'm going to decompress. I'll get up in the morning. I'll catch up and have another video, hopefully on time tomorrow. I was just waiting for those Noms to come, and it was like they were never coming. That's about all I have for you guys today. Comment below and let me know what you think. Are you as furious as I am at Kyle right now? I swear if I could jump through that computer, I would choke him. So, that's all for today. I will see you guys tomorrow. And as always, much love.